A flight attendant whispered, "You have to get off this plane immediately," so I refused. I remember the exact moment her words landed, soft as a paper cut, sharp enough to draw blood. The cabin lights were dimmed for takeoff, that sleepy amber glow that makes everyone look a little guilty. I was buckled into 14A window seat, clutching a paper cup of lukewarm coffee like it was the last honest thing in the world. My carry-on was stuffed under the seat in front of me, 2 changes of clothes, my mother's old rosary, and a photograph I hadn't looked at in 3 days. The engines were humming, that low growl that usually lulls me straight to sleep. But not this time. Her name tag said Saba. Young, maybe 25, with the kind of polite smile they train out of you after a year in the skies. She leaned over the passenger in 14B, her perfume faint. Something clean, like hotel soap. "Ma'am," she whispered again, lips barely moving. "Please. You need to come with me now." Her eyes flicked to the cockpit door, then back to me. Urgent. Afraid. I didn't move. Couldn't. My legs had turned to sand. "I'm sorry," I said, voice steady only because I'd spent 47 years teaching it to be. "I paid for this seat." "I'm going to Islamabad," she hesitated. The safety video was playing, that cheerful cartoon family buckling up like nothing in the world could ever go wrong. I watched the mother on screen smooth her daughter's hair, and something twisted in my chest. Saba's hand brushed my shoulder, light, apologetic. "It's not safe," she murmured. "Please, not safe." The words hung there, heavier than the plane itself. I thought of my daughter, Aisha, waiting at arrivals with her 2 boys. I thought of the empty house I'd left behind in Toronto, the one I'd locked up with shaking hands. I thought of the text I'd ignored 3 hours ago. Unknown number, 3 words. "Don't board tonight." I looked Saba dead in the eye. "Tell me why," I said. "Or I'm not moving," she swallowed. The plane lurped forward, taxiing. Around us, passengers were settling, earbuds in, trays up, lives neatly folded away. A man across the aisle was already snoring. Saba glanced at her watch, then at the flight deck again. "I can't," she whispered. "Not here. But if you stay..." She didn't finish. I didn't need to. I unbuckled my seatbelt. "Let me take you back, before the whispering, before the plane, before the moment my world tilted off its axis and kept spinning." My name is Farida Khan, 52 years old, senior purser with Air Horizon, 28 years in the skies. I've served tea at 37,000 feet to prime ministers and pop stars, held the hands of first-time flyers who cried during turbulence, and once delivered a baby in the rear galley over the Atlantic. I know every chime the aircraft makes, every shade of passenger panic. I thought I knew people too, but I didn't know my own husband. Our life in Toronto was quiet in the way brownstone lives are quiet. Comfortable. Predictable. The kind of routine that feels like love because it's steady. We lived in a narrow 3-bedroom on Palmerston Avenue, the one with the crooked maple out front that drops helicopter seeds every June. The kitchen smelled of cardamom and old wood. The living room rug was threadbare where the kids used to wrestle. Ahmed and I had raised 2 children there, Aisha, our dreamer, now 30, and teaching grade 3 in Islamabad, and Bilal, 27, still finding his footing in Vancouver, sending postcards from hostels like apologies. Ahmed was a structural engineer. Tall, quiet, the kind of man who fixed things before you noticed they were broken. He'd come home every evening at 6:17, shoes polished, tie loosened just so. I'd be in the kitchen, stirring dal, the radio humming old Noor Jahan songs. He'd kiss my cheek, always the left one first, and ask about my flights. "Any drama in the clouds today, John?" He'd say, and I'd tell him about the drunk businessman in first class, or the proposal in 22C. We'd laugh. We'd eat. We'd fall into bed by 10, his arm heavy across my waist like an anchor. Mornings were mine. I'd wake at 5, pray Fajr in the soft dark, then pack my crew bag, black skirt, white blouse, the silk scarf my mother gave me when I got promoted. Ahmed would already be up, making chai the way his father taught him, strong, 2 sugars, a pinch of elaichi. He'd hand me the cup without looking up from his laptop, fingers brushing mine. a small ritual, sacred. The kids came home for Eid. Aisha brought her boys, Hamza and Yusuf, who called me Nano and fought over who got to sit on my lap during story time. Bilal arrived late, hoodie smelling of airport coffee, hugging me so tight I felt his ribs. Ahmed would grill Sikh kebabs in the backyard, smoke curling up past the maple, while I laid out the good china, the blue and white set we'd bought on our honeymoon in Lahore. We'd eat under fairy lights, the kids sticky with mango ice cream, Ahmed's laugh deep and easy. I'd watch him across the table and think, this is enough. This is everything, but there were cracks, tiny ones. I just didn't see them. It started with the phone. Ahmed had always been private about his engineer's habit, he said. But one night in March, I came home early from a Frankfurt turnaround. The house was dark except for the blue glow of his screen in the study. He was hunched over it, shoulders tight, thumbs flying. I paused in the doorway, slippers silent on the hardwood. "Who's that?" I asked, light. He startled, actually startled, and the phone clattered to the desk. "Just work," he said, too quick. Bridge specs, but his ears were red. Ahmed's ears always betrayed him. I let it go. We were tired. I had a red-eye to Doha the next day. I kissed his forehead, tasted salt. "Don't stay up too late," I said. He nodded but didn't look at me. Then came the trips. "Site visit in Calgary," he'd say. "Meeting in Ottawa." Always last minute, always vague. He'd pack the same small duffel, kiss me goodbye at the door, and promise to call. And he did, every night, voice warm through the hotel static. "How was your flight, John?" he'd ask. I'd tell him about the baby who smiled at takeoff, the old lady who gave me her prayer beads. He'd laugh in all the right places. But the house felt different when he was gone. Quieter. Like it was holding its breath. I started noticing things. A new cologne. Woody, expensive. Not the citrus one I'd bought him for our anniversary. A receipt in his coat pocket. Dinner for two at a restaurant we'd never been to together. A text preview on his lock screen, late at night while he showered. "Can't wait to see you again." Heart emoji. I told myself I was imagining it. 47 years old, perimenopause making me paranoid. Long-haul flights mess with my head. Ahmed loved me. He'd built bookshelves for Aisha's dorm room, taught Bilal how to change a tire. He still kissed my left cheek first, but doubt is a slow drip. It wears stone down. The first real clue came in April. I was home for 4 days. Rare, precious leave. Ahmed said he had a deadline and would be at the office late. I decided to surprise him, packed samosas from the halal butcher and drove downtown in rush hour. His building was locked after 6, but the security guard knew me. "Mrs. Khan, haven't seen you in ages." He buzzed me up. The office was empty, lights off except for the conference room. I heard voices, low, intimate. Ahmed's laugh, but different, softer. I pushed the door open. He was standing by the window, back to me, phone to his ear. "I miss you too," he said. "God, I hate sneaking around." A pause. "Soon, I promise." My heart stopped. The samosas slipped from my fingers, grease staining the carpet. He turned. Saw me. The color drained from his face. "Farida," I backed out. Didn't wait for the elevator, took the stairs, 8 flights, lungs burning. Outside, the spring air was sharp. I drove home with the windows down, tears freezing on my cheeks. That night, he came home late. Smelled of rain and lies. "Client dinner," he said, kissing my cheek. "Left one first, like always." I let him. Said nothing. But I watched him brush his teeth, the way his hands shook slightly. I watched him sleep, one arm flung out like he was reaching for someone else. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I needed proof. I needed to be sure, so I started paying attention. The credit card statements. Small charges I'd never noticed before. A boutique hotel in Mississauga. Flowers delivered to an address I didn't recognize. A second phone hidden in his gym bag, locked with a code I didn't know. And then, the name. Whispered in his sleep. "Saba," he murmured, lips barely moving. "Saba," I froze. Saba, like the flight attendant. Like the girl who'd tried to pull me off the plane. But that was months away. Back then, I was still pretending. Still smiling over breakfast, still packing his lunch with a note. "Don't forget to eat, John." I wish I'd screamed. I wish I'd thrown his clothes in the snow. But I didn't. I waited. I watched. And I flew, because the skies were the only place I still felt in control. The first time I saw her face, it was on a screen. I was in the crew lounge at Pearson, 3 hours before the Islamabad flight. My layover had been cut short. Another crew member called in sick, and I was the only senior purser available. I didn't mind. Work kept the questions quiet. I sat at the charging station, sipping vending machine chai, scrolling through my phone to kill time. That's when the notification popped up, a tagged photo on Ahmed's Facebook. He never posted. Never. It was a group shot from a team-building retreat in Banff. 10 engineers in matching fleece vests, arms slung around each other, mountains behind them like a postcard. Ahmed was in the back row, smiling the way he used to smile at me on our wedding day. But his arm wasn't around a colleague. It was around her. She was young. Early 30s, maybe. Dark hair in a low bun, red lipstick, the kind of effortless beauty that makes you look twice. Her name was tagged Saba Qureshi, Structural Liaison, Toronto office. The caption read, "Grateful for this crew. Best project partner a guy could ask for." I stared until the screen went black. My thumb hovered, trembling. I reopened it, zoomed in. Her hand rested on his chest, casual, proprietary. His fingers curled at her waist. I felt the lounge tilt. The fluorescent lights buzzed louder. Someone laughed at a table nearby, sharp, careless. I stood up too fast, chai sloshing over the rim of the cup, burning my wrist. I didn't feel it. I went to the bathroom. Locked myself in a stall. Sat on the closed lid and cried without sound. The way you learn to cry when you've got a red eye in 4 hours and can't show up with swollen eyes. I pressed my forehead to the cool metal wall. Counted to 10, 20, 50. When I came out, I looked like any other tired flight attendant. Hair neat, lipstick fresh, smile practiced. But inside, I was unraveling. I flew to Doha that night. Served champagne to a sheikh's wife, tucked blankets around sleeping children, smiled until my cheeks ached. In the jump seat during cruise, I stared at the bulkhead and replayed the photo in my mind. The way he looked at her. The way she leaned in. I texted him from 37,000 feet, saw the Banff pics. "Looks fun. Miss you," he replied in seconds. "Wish you'd been there, John." Next time I didn't sleep. When we landed, I went straight to the crew hotel, showered, and opened my laptop. I searched her name. LinkedIn first. Saba Qureshi, Pieng, University of Waterloo. Started at Ahmed's firm 18 months ago. Then Instagram, private. Then Facebook again. I made a fake profile. Some cousin from Karachi. Added mutual friends from the office. She accepted within the hour. Her life spilled open like a suitcase. Photos from Morocco. Cappadocia. A weekend in New York, Statue of Liberty, his hand in the frame, thumb ring I'd never seen him wear. A story highlight, my person. A coffee cup with lipstick on the rim. A hotel balcony at sunrise, 2 shadows merged into one. I closed the laptop, lay on the starched hotel bed and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up over the Gulf. I didn't tell anyone. Not Aisha. Not Bilal. Not even Rubina, my crew best friend who'd once held my hair while I threw up bad shrimp in Jakarta. This was mine to carry, but secrets rot. And I was starting to stink of them. Back in Toronto, I watched him like a hawk wearing sheep's clothing. I memorized his new routines. The way he now showered as soon as he got home. The way he angled his phone away when we watched TV. The way he said, "I love you" quickly, like a reflex, not a promise. One night in May, I came home unannounced again. He was in the garage on the phone, voice low. "I told you I'm handling it," he said. "She doesn't suspect." A pause. "No, I can't leave yet. There's the house. The kids!" I stood in the doorway, hidden by the recycling bins. My heart was a drum in my throat. He ended the call, turned, saw me. "Farida." His voice cracked. You're early, I smiled. The same smile I give passengers who demand champagne in economy. Traffic was light. He came toward me, arms open. I let him hug me. Let him kiss my left cheek. Let him lie. That night I waited until he was asleep. Then I took his phone. The code was our wedding date. Of course it was. The messages were a graveyard. Saba, I wore the red dress you like. Ahmed, God, I can't stop thinking about your mouth. Saba, when are you telling her? Ahmed, soon, I swear. I just need time. There were photos. Hotel mirrors. Her in his shirt. Him asleep, sheet low on his hips. A video, her laughing, his hand sliding up her thigh. I watched it without sound. My thumb left a smudge on the screen. I put the phone back exactly where it was. Went to the kitchen. Made tea I didn't drink. Sat at the table until dawn. Rosary beads clicking softly between my fingers. I didn't cry. Not anymore. The next morning, I booked the Islamabad flight. Aisha had been begging me to visit. The boys were growing too fast. I needed air that didn't taste like betrayal. Ahmed drove me to the airport. I held my hand across the console. Call me when you land, he said. I'll miss you. I looked at him. Really looked. The crow's feet I used to trace with my thumb. The mole above his lip I kissed every night. The mouth that had whispered another woman's name in his sleep. I'll miss you too, I said. And I meant it. God help me, I did. Check-in was smooth. Security, a breeze. I bought a coffee, sat at the gate, and watched families reunite. A little girl ran to her father, arms wide. He lifted her high, spinning. I smiled. Then I saw her, Saba. She was in uniform, same airline, different route. Her hair was pulled back, badge gleaming. She was walking with another attendant, laughing at something on her phone. She hadn't seen me, I stood. My legs moved before my mind caught up. I followed her to the crew lounge entrance. I watched her scan her badge, disappear. My flight was boarding. I should have gone to the gate. Should have boarded, flown, pretended. But I didn't. I went to the customer service desk, asked for the crew manifest, flashed my badge, smiled the smile that gets me upgrades and extra crew meals. The agent typed, frowned. Saba Qureshi is on this flight, she said. Jump seat, rear galley. My blood turned to ice. I walked to gate 42 in a daze. The plane was a 777, same as mine. I knew every inch of it. I boarded with the last passengers, a crew bag rolling behind me. Found my seat. 14A. Window. That's when she appeared. Saba. She stopped at my row. Her eyes widened, just a flicker. Then the mask slid into place. Professional. Polite. Ma'am, she whispered, leaning close. You have to get off this plane immediately. I looked up at her. Really looked. The red lipstick. The delicate gold chain at her throat. The faint scent of hotel soap. I knew her voice. From the messages? From the dark? No, I said calmly. I don't. The cabin lights flickered once, then steadied. Saba's hand hovered near my shoulder, not quite touching, as if I were a live wire. Around us, the last stragglers stowed bags and clicked seatbelts. A baby cried 2 rows back. The smell of jet fuel and instant noodles drifted from the galley. Ma'am? She tried again, voice barely above the engine whine. This is a safety issue, please. I turned my head slowly. Met her eyes. They were hazel, flecked with gold, prettier up close than in the photos. I wondered if Ahmed had noticed that first. Safety, I repeated, tasting the word. Funny, you didn't seem too concerned about safety when you were in my husband's bed. Her face went white under the cabin lights. The polite mask cracked clean in half. I unbuckled my seatbelt and stood. The overhead bin above me was still open. My crew bag sat inside like a silent witness. I reached up, pulled it down. The weight of it grounded me. Saba stepped back, bumping into the beverage cart. A stack of plastic cups rattled. I don't know what you're talking about, she stammered, but her voice shook. Don't, I said quietly. Don't insult me. The passenger in 14C, an older man with a newspaper, glanced up, sensing drama. I smiled at him. Family matters, I said. He looked away. I walked past Saba toward the rear galley. She followed, heels clicking on the carpet. The curtain swished shut behind us. The galley smelled of coffee grounds and lemon wipes. The other crew members were up front doing final checks. I set my bag on the counter. I turned to face her. How long? I asked. She opened her mouth. I closed it. Her badge glinted under the fluorescent strip. S. Qureshi, cabin crew. 18 months, she whispered finally. It started at the Banff retreat. It wasn't supposed to... 18 months. I laughed, soft. That's longer than my daughter's marriage. Tears welled in her eyes. Real ones. I hated that they looked genuine. He said you were distant, she said. That you lived in the sky. That he was lonely. I leaned against the jump seat. The plane lurched, taxiing. Lonely, I echoed. Did he tell you about the night I came home from Singapore with pneumonia? How he carried me to bed, spoon-fed me soup for 3 days? Did he tell you about the mortgage he paid while I was on maternity leave with Bilal? The way he cried when Aisha took her first steps? She looked down. Her hands twisted the hem of her vest. No, I said. He wouldn't have. That's not the story lonely men tell, the intercom crackled. The captain's voice. Cabin crew, prepare for takeoff. Saba flinched. Please, she said. If you make a scene, we both lose our jobs. Think about your family. My family, I said, is exactly why I'm here. I reached into my bag and pulled out the envelope. Thick cream paper, my handwriting on the front. Ahmed Khan. Inside were printouts, screenshots of their messages, hotel receipts, the Banff photo with a red circle around their joined hands. I'd spent my last layover in Doha compiling it all. Neat, chronological, devastating. I held it out. Deliver this to him, I said. Tonight. When you land in Islamabad, you'll have a 4-hour layover at the Marriott. He's booked a room. 412. Tell him I know. Tell him I'm done pretending. Her fingers trembled as she took it. The plane accelerated. G-forces pressed us back, and Saba? I added as the nose lifted. Don't ever whisper in my ear again. I walked back to 14A. Buckled in. The plane climbed, Toronto shrinking below like a memory I was finally ready to leave. The flight was 12 hours. I didn't sleep. I watched the moving map, the little plane crawling across the Atlantic. I thought about the house on Palmerston Avenue, the crooked maple, the blue and white china, the way Ahmed's socks never matched. I thought about the first time he told me he loved me. We were 22, sitting on the roof of his parents' house in Lahore, monsoon rain drumming on the tin awning. He'd traced my palm with his finger and said, You're my home, Farida. Wherever you are, that's where I'll be. Liar. Somewhere over Ireland, I ordered tea. The new attendant, trainee, nervous, spilled a drop on the tray. Sorry, Auntie, she said. I smiled. It's okay, Beta. Stains wash out. When we landed in Islamabad, the air was thick with dust and jasmine. Aisha was waiting at arrivals, Hamza on her hip, Yusuf tugging her dupatta. She saw me and ran. Nano! The boys yelled. I knelt, arms open. They smelled of baby shampoo and sunshine. Aisha hugged me tight. You look tired, she whispered. Everything okay? I kissed her forehead. It will be. We drove to her apartment in F7. The boys fell asleep in the back seat, heads lolling. Aisha glanced at me. Baba called. Said he's coming next week for Yusuf's birthday. I nodded. Good. That night, after the kids were in bed, I sat on Aisha's balcony. The call to prayer drifted from a nearby mosque, soft and mournful. My phone buzzed, unknown number. Islamabad code, I answered. Farida? Ahmed's voice, hoarse, broken. Where are you? With our daughter, I said, a pause. The sound of breathing. Saba gave me the envelope. Good, I can explain. You can't. Another pause. I ended it. Months ago, I swear. It was a mistake. I was weak. Please, John, come home. We'll fix this. I looked out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Saba was in room 412, alone with the wreckage. You sold our home while I was in the sky, Ahmed. I said, You don't get to ask me to land. I hung up. The next morning, I took the boys to the park. Hamza pushed Yusuf on the swing. both of them shrieking with laughter. I sat on a bench, coffee cooling in my hand, and watched them. My grandsons. My future. My phone buzzed again. This time, Rubina.girl, the airline is buzzing. Someone leaked the envelope to HR. Ahmed's on unpaid leave. Saba's been grounded pending investigation. You okay? I smiled. Typed back. Never better. The news spread faster than monsoon rain on a tin roof. By the time I'd finished my second cup of dude patty at Aisha's kitchen table, my phone was lighting up like Diwali. First it was Rubina again, then my old crewmate Shazia from the Dubai base, then even Captain Rahman, who'd flown me to Jeddah the week Aisha was born. All of them asking the same thing, in different shades of shock. Farida, is it true? I didn't answer any of them, not yet. I set the phone face down and watched Yusuf smear banana on his high-chair tray, giggling when it squished between his fingers. Aisha was at the sink, rinsing dishes, humming an old Atif Aslam song under her breath. She hadn't asked again what was wrong. She knew her mother. She knew I'd speak when the words were ready. They came that afternoon. We'd just put the boys down for their nap when the doorbell rang. Aisha wiped her hands on a tea towel and went to answer it. I heard voices, hers, soft and confused. Then a deeper one I knew better than my own heartbeat. Ahmed. He stood in the doorway in the same navy blazer he'd worn to Bilal's graduation, only now it hung loose on his shoulders. His beard was patchy, eyes red-rimmed. He held a small suitcase like a shield. Assalamu alaikum, he said to Aisha. His voice cracked on her name. She stepped aside without a word. He walked in, eyes searching until they found me in the living room. The air between us felt thick, like the moment before thunder. Farida, he said. Just that. My name. Like a prayer he no longer deserved to say. I stood slowly. My knees didn't shake. You flew a commercial, I observed. First class? He flinched. I had to see you. Aisha hovered in the hallway, arms crossed. I'll be in the kitchen, she said quietly. If you need me, Ami, just call. The door clicked shut behind her. Ahmed set the suitcase down. Opened his mouth. I closed it. Then to my surprise, he sank to his knees right there on Aisha's Persian rug, the one we'd bought together in Istanbul 20 years ago. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't move to help him up. I'd spent decades lifting people, passengers, children, my own heart. This time I let gravity do its work. Stand up, I said. He did slowly, like an old man. His hands trembled at his sides. I ended it, he said again. The day you sent the envelope. I told her it was over. I blocked her. You blocked her after HR called you in, I corrected. After the airline suspended you both. After your boss saw the photos? His shoulders sagged. Yes, I walked to the window. Outside, Islamabad shimmered in the afternoon heat, motorbikes weaving, a kite tangled in power lines, a woman in a yellow dupatta selling mangoes from a cart. Life going on. Do you know what hurt the most? I asked without turning. It wasn't the sex. It wasn't even the lies. It was the way you made me doubt my own memory. The way you looked me in the eye every morning and said I love you, while planning to meet her after work. That's what broke me, Ahmed. The theft of trust. He made a sound, half sob, half groan. I was stupid. I was flattered. She made me feel young? I supplied. Wanted? Tell me, did she know about the night you sat up with Hamza when he had a croup? Did she hold your hand when your father died? Did she pack your lunch for 28 years with a note that said, "Don't forget to eat, John"? Silence. I turned to face him. No, she didn't. She got the easy parts. The hotel rooms. The stolen afternoons. I got the mortgage, the parent-teacher meetings, the 3 a.m. flights with crying babies. I got life. And you threw it away for a fantasy. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He didn't wipe them away. I don't want your tears, I said. I want my dignity back, he nodded. Swallowed hard. The house is in both our names, I finished. I spoke to a lawyer in Toronto. You can't sell it without my signature. And you won't get it. His eyes widened. Farida, please. We can fix this. Counseling. Time. I'll quit the firm. You'll what? Stop being weak? I shook my head. Some things can't be fixed with apologies, Ahmed. Some cracks run too deep. Aisha appeared in the doorway, holding 2 cups of chai. She set one in front of each of us, then stood beside me, hand on my shoulder. Solidarity without words. Ahmed looked at her, then at me. Aisha, Beta, talk to your mother. Tell her, don't, Aisha said quietly. Don't put this on me. You made your choices, Baba. Now live with them. He stared at her like she'd slapped him. Maybe she had. I picked up my chair. Took a sip. It was perfect, strong, sweet, the way he used to make it. I set it down untouched. There's a guest room, I said. You can stay until you book a return flight. For the boys' sake? But you sleep there. You don't touch me. You don't speak to me unless it's about the children. Understood? He nodded, mute. That night, I lay awake in Aisha's bed, listening to the ceiling fan whir. Ahmed was down the hall, probably staring at the same kind of dark. I thought about the first time I'd seen him cry, when Aisha was born, her tiny fist curled around his finger. I thought about the last time, today on his knees. Both times I'd wanted to comfort him. This time I didn't. The next morning I took the boys to the Faisal Mosque. Yusuf rode on my hip, pointing at the minarets. Hamza ran ahead, sneakers slapping marble. I bought kulfi from a vendor, watched the ice cream melt down their wrists. My phone buzzed. An email from HR subject. Outcome of investigation. Saba Qureshi. She'd been terminated. Effective immediately. Gross misconduct. Fraternization with a married colleague. Breach of crew conduct policy. I showed Aisha when we got home. She read it, lips pressed tight. Good, she said. She doesn't get to keep flying while you fall. But I didn't feel triumph. Just a hollow kind of justice. Ahmed left 2 days later. He hugged the boys too tight, kissed Aisha's forehead, and looked at me like a drowning man. I handed him his suitcase. Take care of yourself, I said. He opened his mouth. I closed it. Then, I still love you, Farida. I didn't answer. The door shut behind him. Aisha locked it. We stood there for a moment, mother and daughter, the silence loud between us. Then she hugged me. You're stronger than all of us, Ami. I held her back. No, Beta. I'm just done being weak. I sit here now, back in Toronto, in the same kitchen where the cardamom still lingers in the air, though the house is quieter than it's ever been. The crooked maple outside has dropped its last helicopter seed. The blue and white china sits untouched in the cupboard. Ahmed moved out 3 months ago. The divorce papers are signed, the house is mine, and the skies, well, the skies are still mine too. I fly when I want, stay when I need to. Aisha and the boys visit every school break. Bilal calls every Sunday. Life didn't end. It just changed shape. Some nights I still smell hotel soap and feel the plane tilt beneath me. Some mornings I wake reaching for a hand that isn't there, but the ache is softer now, like an old bruise you forget until you press it. I learned that dignity isn't something someone can steal. It's something you decide to keep. And I kept mine. So I'll ask you, quietly, the way Auntie May always does. When someone you love betrays the home you built together, do you burn the house down? Or do you sweep the ashes, open the windows, and let the light back in? Tell me in the comments. I read every one, and if this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear they're not alone. Until next time, take care of your hearts, my dears. They're the only homes we truly own.